Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is another video on Pandas Hands-on where we'll be learning pandas by solving Leetcode problems. So let's see which problem we'll be solving today. So it says employees earning more than their managers. So let's go through it once. We'll be given an employees data frame with these following columns: ID, name, salary, and manager ID. And we need to find a solution to find the employees who earn more than their managers. As usual, we can return the result in any order, and they have given us an example. So this is the employee data frame. And if you could see, the employee Joey has a manager with ID 3, which is Sam, and Henry has a manager ID of 4, which is Max. So Sam is Joey's manager and Max is Henry's manager. But if you look carefully, Joey's salary is 70,000 and Sam's salary is 60,000. So this is the result that we are expected to return, as you can see in the output, whereas Henry has 80,000 and his manager Max has 90,000. So clearly this is not the solution, so we need to return Joey from here. Also, a subtle thing to note, which is now when we are returning the output data frame, we are not returning as the column's name is not name, so it's no longer name. Now we have to rename it somehow and we have to send it as an employee. So we'll be looking at all of those things, but before jumping into the Jupyter notebook that I already have opened up, I'll just copy the Pandas schema and we'll switch over to the uh, blank canvas of Jupyter notebook in a moment. Okay, so as usual, we'll be importing pandas as PD because in the schema they have used PD as an alias. So let me just run this cell and let's see how employee data frame look like. So this is exactly what the example was all about. So now what we need to do is, first things first, we need to figure out who is whose manager. So for that, since the details of the manager ID and the manager's name are present in the same table, so you could kind of get where we are heading towards. So we would have to merge this table with itself based on the manager ID column and the ID column. So imagine this way, say this half of this table is for employees and a copy of it is attached here, which would be of managers, but this time the ID of this invisible or the imaginary table that I'm talking about would be mapped to a manager ID. So ID of the imaginary data frame would be mapped to the manager ID of this very real example here. So I'll show you momentarily what I mean. So we would have our data frame employee and merge is the method that we are going to use. So what we always do is we write the keyword argument's name. So let's look through it. We would need this right to be our same data frame and how should be inner, even though the default value is inner, but I prefer to write it so that people can understand what I'm talking about, or people who would see my code later on would easily understand what is going on here. So the right data frame would be employee, the same, and how do you want to merge it would be inner join. Let's see what we get. Okay, we do not get anything. We are not getting it anything. So okay. So why is this so? Because we're missing two very important like keyword arguments, which is on which column you need to join the right data frame with the left data frame. So clearly we're missing that, and this is a very classic example to show you that you should not miss those like individual keyword arguments. So for us, this for this left data frame that we can see in the screen, we need to map this column manager ID with the right data frame which we are unable to see, and we need to map this with the ID column. So our left join would be on, I mean the left data frames manager ID column should be mapped to the right data frames ID column this time. So we are taking this manager ID of the one that you can see, and the one that you cannot see, we would be considering the ID column. So let's see if we get any result now. And yes, we are getting a result. So we are getting two records because obvious reasons. Sam doesn't have a manager. Max also doesn't have a manager. Whereas Joey has a manager ID 3 which represents Sam. As you can clearly see, Joey's manager is Sam and Henry's manager is Max. Okay. Now, the other thing that I want to do is I do not like this suffixes underscore x for this left data frame and underscore y for this right data frame. So what we need to do is somehow like rewrite this in a more legible way in which it's pretty clear which part of it is belongs to employee and which part of it belongs to manager. Can we do it in using the merge method? Let's see. I think we can. And here is the keyword argument that you need to supply, which is suffixes, and it could be a tuple and it works with list as well. So you need to supply two suffixes, each one for one for the left data frame and the other one for the right data frame. So for us, the left one clearly is uh, related to employee, whereas the right one is related to manager. So my left suffix would be underscore emp and the right suffix would be underscore mgr. I think it is more meaningful. As you can see, name of the employee is Joey, name of the manager is Sam. Salary of the employee is 70,000, salary of the manager is 60,000. So this is a pretty nice formatted data frame, and what I would do, as I usually uh, have done in my previous videos, I would be saving this snapshot in a new variable. I'll call it emp underscore mgr, representing both of these together, and I'll just print it out so that we can track where we are heading. So now what we need to do is we need to pick few columns, like we need name of the employee, we need salary of the employee, we do not need any of these IDs, we do not need even name of the manager, but we need the salary of the manager. So essentially these three columns are what we are interested in. So what I would do is, instead of taking everything, I'll work with the three columns that we need. So one is name EMP, the other one is salary EMP, the last one is salary MGR. See if I can get what we want. Yeah, we are getting what we want. So I'll just copy this one and override using the same variable name. So essentially now EMP would contain the three columns. So yeah, are we done yet? We are not, because we need to our result should contain only those entries or those employees whose salary is greater than their manager's salary. So how do we do it? It has been done in one of my previous videos, so please do watch my other videos in the same playlist. I'll put up a link somewhere in this corner and as well as in the description. So how do you do it? For a conditional selection of rows, you need to pass on the condition within single pair of square brackets. And how does it work? So within this bracket, we would be accessing the first column is, for us the condition would be salary of the employee should be greater than salary of the manager. So here we are selecting the salary of the employee and it should be greater than salary of the manager for this particular row, for each and every row rather, and it will only pick wherever this condition holds true. So the entire writing of this line means Pandas would scan through this entire data frame EMP manager and it would scan row by row for this condition. Wherever in every row it would check this condition. So for example, in the first row, salary of the employee, is it greater than salary of the manager? Yes, it is. So this row gets a boolean value of true, and hence we would get this result in our output. And for the very next one, it is false. It won't be shown in our output. Let's check if our understanding is correct. Yes, we are understanding the problem, or the way in this condition has been set is correct. So we are getting the single row. Now what we need to do is, okay, let's store it in another variable first before proceeding. So this would be our result. Somehow we need to figure out how to send the name only with a renamed column. So we'll do it. So this is our result. I'll just tap it out again. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to only select name underscore EMP. How do you do it? So this time we're selecting column and hence we have to pass in the column name in another list. So this would be EMP name. So let me just run it again, we are getting the name of our employee as expected. But we should be also returning it in the way the problem expects. It should be employee. The column name should be employee with a capital E. How do we do it? Since this entire thing returns as a data frame, so we can use another method provided by Pandas data frame, which is rename. Here is the the signature of this method, and we are interested in this particular keyword argument, which is columns. So here what columns expects is a dictionary of key value pairs, where the key would be the old column name, in this case name underscore emp, and value would be the new column name, which would be employee with a capital E. So let me just write it down. So columns is the keyword argument that we will be passing, or rather we would be sending the values for, and it is a dictionary with the key of an old column name, which is name underscore emp, and it should be overwritten with this new column name employee E capital. Voila, we get a result. So this is what we need to return, and since we already have it, I'll just copy let me just first go through it again, and then I'll copy over to Leetcode, and we would see whether it solves a problem statement or not. So first what we did was, after loading all of these data frames in, we merged the table with itself, because the data we need is in the same table only. So we need to find, first step was to figure out which particular person was the manager of which particular person. So we used this manager ID column and joined it, or rather merged it, using an inner join on this ID column. So we also have seen a silly mistake where we forgot to mention the left on and right on. So please be careful. We need to do it. And even if the column names are same, please do it as a good practice, and it would help you a lot. And then we also have renamed the suffixes into something what we wanted to. We did not go with the default X and Y. So this is another good practice. You should do it quite often. And after that, after we got our desired format of the data frame, we selected only those columns which we needed for the conditional checks in the future cells. So we did our conditional checks, and then our result was not satisfactorily done, in a way that the name of the column was not what we wanted to. So then what we did was renamed the column, and then finally we got our answer. It is E capital employee, and the result was Joey. So I'll just switch over to Leetcode, and then I'll copy and paste it, um, uh, and you could see those lines of code. Okay, so first things first, I'll just copy the merge line and I'll put it here. So I'm just copying from the other screen. I hope that's okay. So this was the merge line, and now what we do is we'll be selecting the three columns that we are interested in, and then we would be calculating partial result, where we haven't really renamed the columns. So here we are renaming the column. This is what we need to send. Sorry about that. Return. Okay, just cross check it with the result. It is E capital employee, and we were getting Joey. So let me just run it and see if it works. Okay, it does work. So it is accepted, and yeah, let me just submit it. Okay, pretty good. Although do not bother with this particular runtime result. It's okay. Uh, so I hope you like this approach, and you have understood what I wanted you to understand. I'll put up a link for the merge method and the rename method, so that you can read on further. We'll be solving problems like this a lot in the future. So please do like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Do let me know if you have any feedback for me. I'll be incorporating those changes in my future videos. And yeah, that's about it. Do put into practice all of these good coding habits, whether you are writing code for your organization or your own side projects or anything. Just make it a habit, and I think that should help you guys a lot. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.